Cancel.
Schweezy.
Last off, I do want to talk about this. I did watch this show on Hulu, Under the Banner of Heaven. Insane. I want to talk about that. This is the bio from Hulu. Starring Andrew Garfield, FX Under the Banner of Heaven, the limited series inspired by the bestseller by John Krakauer. I don't know his name. Follows the murder of Brenda Wright Lafferty and her baby daughter in a suburb in the Salt Lake Valley. A detective, Jeb Pirate, investigates events that transpired. He uncovers buried truths about the origin of the LDS religion and the violent consequences of unyielding faith. It's very interesting. So it's based off like a real murder that happened in real life, but it's also then a fictional story was made on top of that of a detective who did have to go through that, and he's a very devout Mormon, one of the normal Mormons that exist today, an adult, and so he's like struggling with that in his faith, and I thought it was very interesting because I was never a Mormon, fuck that, but it's very interesting to see someone struggle with their faith. Andrew Garfield's in this, Wyatt Russell's in this, some other actors in this, but those are the only two I know, and they're so fucking good in the series. Andrew Garfield I just fucking love him. I've loved him since Spider-Man. Eyes of Tammy Faye, he was so good. He was terrific in fucking, not Louder Than Words, that's one of the songs. Tick, Tick, Boom. So good in that, fuck. What was there was one other thing I was trying to say. Tick, Tick, Boom. I guess this is Under the Banner of Heaven. This was the other one I was trying to talk about. He's so good. I will probably... Andrew Garfield is very similar to fucking Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I'll fucking watch anything those guys do. Wyatt Russell is so great too. I haven't seen him in much things. I've seen him in this, and I've seen him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And basically, he's so good because he just seems like a nice... Like, if you ever just listen to him in interviews, he's just like... Seems like a friendly, normal guy, just like very friendly, fun to hang out with and stuff like that. But you watch him act, and you're like, this guy is about to fucking snap and just murder everyone in the room. And those are the two roles I've seen him in. I'm like, he's so fucking good at that. Because, like, you don't know what he's going to do. Because there's also, you have to think about in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is that he's under the face of being Captain America. But, like, he's a good guy, but he will just fucking do a bad thing. Like, his friend got murdered in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. He just fucking murdered a guy, It's just like, he's very easy to snap. So I'm so excited to see Wyatt Russell in the Thunderbolts. He's going to be so good in that shit. First of all, I want to talk about being Mormon or a Latter-day Saint. Some of this is some can I talk today? Fundamentalist bullshit. So, like, I don't want to offend the Mormons, but I also want to let the Mormons know, regardless, I think your religion is a cult. It's very... I'm very much walking on eggshells here, like my song on Spotify, where I'm like, I want everyone to just have their own beliefs, but at the same time, I don't want them to do toxic shit. I don't want them to be a bad person, shit like that. And so when I say this, that you should hear my contradictions to what being a Mormon is, just listen here. Some of these are fundamentalist stuff. I'll try to negotiate that. First of all, especially in the series Under the Banner of Heaven, they didn't let black people be considered in the church until 1978. This was a story based in the 80s, which wasn't a couple years after that. And so you have to know a lot of Mormons were probably not cool with that, and they considered having dark skin a curse, and especially with Native Americans as well. They thought that was a curse as well. They consider women second-class citizens, which I don't believe. I just think women are just people. I don't really give a shit. And you also have to know Joseph Smith. He was very much a con artist, and was clearly making a lot of the shit he believes up. So, yeah. Then they also have a lot of extremes of a purity culture and abuse, which, I was in non-denominational Christianity for a while, so I know that, and it was a little more extreme. You follow the bite model, which is very much saying, what is and isn't a cult? Latter-day Saints, 100% a cult. There's no... and then a lot of the fundamentalist stuff. And I know you could say, well, the whole black people thing is fundamentalist, but, most of those people are still alive today. And probably still believe that. They believe polygamy, which is good. And they believed in, like, if you have sex with a girl, you're legally married to them, and it's like they're 12, 14. Like, that's fucking gross, dude. That is seriously fucking gross. And that's why I would never support Mormonism. We're like, we don't believe in polygamy anymore. But, like, yeah, but most of those people who do are still alive. And, like, was it, like, 1978? Those people aren't dead yet. A lot of those people aren't dead yet who still believe that shit. It goes through the Lafferty family. I would say watch this because it was basically the Lafferty, like, two Lafferty boys, and, like, basically raising a bunch of psycho Mormons. Basically, they're the dad of the family, or Grandpa Amon. Like, the son pissed him off, and so he just tried to fucking beat them. And, I'm very much against beating children, but at the same time, the Mormons are probably like, honor your father and mother, but, my dad's dead, but if my dad tried to fucking punch me as, like, a fucking adult, I'm like, I'll punch him fucking back. I'm like, at some point, like, your parents are getting old, and that's why I don't, I obviously think beating your children is wrong, and I don't think you should do that, but at some point, like, if you beat them when they're old enough, they're going to be stronger than you, and they're going to beat the shit out of you. And the fact that these kids held back is for so long, and then, like, the oldest one, Ron, basically killed his dad. Not super surprising to me. I would never let fucking an old, if like, someone who's, like, 80, like, tried to fucking fight me, I would break their bones. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll be like, it was self-defense. And then people were like, was it really self-defense? And I was like, yeah, it was. I'm not going to fight that. And shit like that. So,
what?
Yeah. And then, there was an awkward scene where Dan, not Ron, Wyatt Russell's character, which I love Wyatt Russell. I'm so excited to see him in Thunderbolts, or hopefully a new project coming up in the Marvel Universe. Like, he's trying to explain to his wife why he thinks polygamy is good, and it's, like, the cringiest scene. I love watching fucking cringy scenes on TV, and they both, and, like, him and, I can't remember who the wife was played by, but they did so fucking good playing that scene. It was so good. Like, and I was like, you think it's okay to have an extra wife? I don't. He's like, but that's what Joseph Smith said. He wanted an extra wife, and Brigham Young wanted an extra wife, other wives, but you're, like, the main wife. Like, ugh, this is so cringy. I'm like, I can't stop watching this shit. But overall, though, this is very interesting because this whole show was about, a detective, Jeb Pryor, like, going through, like, a crisis of faith and, like, questioning his belief in Mormonism and stuff like that. And, someone who grew up Christian, I very much relate to a lot of the shit that's going on here. But the thing I love, though, is kind of like I think it's the last episode of the series where they're trying to, like, solve the case at least. And, like, it was Detective Bill Taba, who was, like, Native American. I can't remember what specific tribe he was a part of, but they have, like, things with the Mormons, which Mormon history is so much of a thing of itself. Like, it's so gross and dirty and bad. But he says this because I guess he grew up Catholic, but he's also, his ancestors are Native American, so he hears those stories as well. He says this quote, and I absolutely love it. I think it's okay to sing it now and then, even if I don't believe it has power anymore. He talks about, like, hymns and, like, Catholicism he used to sing, and Native American folk tunes he used to sing as well. And, I think this is very interesting because, I think about how, like, I grew up Christian, and I do necessarily think about how Christianity has played a role in how I live my life, but I also don't know if I want to follow everything I've learned. I'm trying to unlearn and relearn multiple different things, but I think with Detective Bill Taba, when he says, I think it's okay to sing it now and then, even if I don't believe it has power anymore. I think I love that quote. I definitely love the quote, and I definitely made an effort to have to Google it and write it down and stuff like that. And I do believe that is important. So, everyone, let's end it here. Let's end this part here. I think it's okay to sing it now and then, even if I don't believe it has power anymore. Hey there, you just checked out a highlight from Cancel Schweezy. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you learned something and that you are now a smarter individual. Just so you know, we have full episodes and other many highlights available now. Click here for the next best thing that you can go check out as well. And make sure you press that subscribe button and press that notification bell. That way you get updated anytime we make a new post or anytime that we make a new highlight or full episode. So thank you, honk if you love butt drugs, and stay awesome.